So, media framing theory is the process of putting news stories together. This is done through a variety of methods. First, the prominent method that's used is agenda setting. Um, that is when people in the media identify the important issues that has to be covered. We have obviously seen a lot of that in the last 4 years, though I'm sure it has always been omnipresent, but I will get to that in a second. Todd Gitlin applied the theory, and he would go into how like the media would structure the messages for people to hear on the news, because the way that the message gets relayed and the way the context, tone, and everything, obviously are very important to people who are sitting at home who may have minimal information on the news story, because the news is the one that's getting information out to them in the public. So that the way that is brought to the public's attention is very important, and a lot of times that will necessitate or show that response. I mean, obviously, we saw this with the current pandemic we're all living under. Excuse me. So there's a little bit of a subfield of this, which is called prospect theory. This goes into how framing can lead to decision making. Again, this was seen with the coronavirus pandemic. This was an example of this was used in health promotion with testing for hepatitis, or it was for some viral infection in prisons. The testing rates went up, and I think the rates of infection went down, but that was because of the way the media pushed it, which was able to kind of scare prisoners into getting tested because they thought there was like some widespread issue. This is what I was talking about, and this was done by Roth, and this was done throughout the criminal justice system. An area where this is seen exceptional, that is very common to see agenda setting, is within politics. People in the political realm always are trying to spin various stories different ways to fit a narrative, or are just trying to spin stories to get public to react a certain way, and they obviously pick and choose which stories that are getting covered. One example I can list off is Fox News with Trump's tax returns, where they were going into how Trump had not released his tax returns, and Fox News was defending him, and MSNBC and the other liberal outlets were going to push him to get it, and eventually went to the Supreme Court. And everything. Another instance would be the recent confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett, where various right-wing sources like Fox and One American News were all pushing for Barrett's confirmation and applauding McConnell's leadership and Trump's leadership. And the liberal pundits on other news networks were going against it, saying various topics like that we needed to wait because they said that it was because of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death wish, or we're going on about the during Obama era in his last term when Scalia died, and they didn't put up a justice, and they refused to hold hearings on the justice in the Republican-controlled Senate. So those are two examples that have been seen throughout the public of this type of agenda setting that have been done in political terms. And this is, again, always playing to some sort of narrative or playing to some sort of audience. And this kind of gets can push how the audience will react. Again, you can even use another example of like the 2020 election, where both sides were getting people to turn out in droves for Trump or Joe Biden. So that is the media framing theory, and many examples of it being applied.